Crash Bandicoot in Smash Bros? It's more likely than you think. When people think classic PlayStation character, there are a few that come to mind. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Cloud the human, Lara Croft the other human with 2 guns, and 2 other things. But the mid to late 90s was a time of cartoon mascots. Every game company tried making their own, and for a while there, Crash Bandicoot actually had a small rivalry with Sonic and Mario. Sure, it wasn't as big as Sonic vs. Mario, and even that rivalry was nearing its end. But the huge marketing push and sales numbers show that Crash Bandicoot is for sure a very important part, not just of the history of Sony, but of the history of video gaming as a whole. And since going multi-platform, he's been everywhere, even on the Nintendo Switch already. So I wouldn't be surprised if this character made it. But if he did, what would his moveset be? Well, here's our idea. I want to show you something great. Gnoggin.net. Merchandise. And big thanks to Scoopa92, one of our editors, who basically did this whole thing. If you're into machinimas, check him out. Link in the description. So right away, let's say we're going with classic Crash. Similar to how Mega Man pulls most of his moves from earlier games, Crash should be about the same when he was most popular, the original Crash trilogy. An homage to when he was most relevant. Starting with his neutral special, I'm sure you've already guessed it, it's Spin. Really though, obviously, what else would it be? It'd basically be Incineroar's neutral special, but a lot faster and weaker. But just like in his games, if you tap B repeatedly, he spins continuously. Though there is a maximum limit. But in this repeated B press mode, he holds onto his opponents in a combo of spin attacks, just like Meta Knight's Tornado back in Brawl, only without the overpowered upwardness. When used in the air, this attack causes Crash to float in place and be able to move side to side, perhaps like an in-between of Meta Knight's Tornado and Luigi's down special Tornado. And speaking of down specials, here's a unique down special. Crash places a TNT crate that then activates, perhaps being placed down similar to Pac-Man's hydrant. It then starts counting down before exploding, and notably, the explosion can hurt Crash too. It'd be tricky to use because it's so telegraphed. It takes 3 seconds to explode, but that could be a good strategic asset for sure. And maybe when used in the air, the box lands with an explosion, like Bowser Jr.'s up special. Adding more complexity, if you spawn the crate and quickly jump, you won't trigger its countdown. Perhaps then, it being hit later would start the countdown. And throughout its entire existence, it can be picked up and carried around similarly to the big crates. For the side special, there's 2 ideas. The first being that Crash pulls out Polar, the bear, and rides around on it, and can even jump, perhaps acting like Wario or Bowser Jr.'s side specials. The other possibility is the Fruit Bazooka. Crash pulls out and shoots a Wumpa fruit, and if you hold the special button, he can aim with it. As for his recovery move, well, Crash games are all about crates, so how about he just spawns an arrow crate? It'd just work the same as Sonic's special. It stays there for a bit so others can use it, and it falls if you use it in the air. And as an added touch though, unlike Sonic and Mega Man's up specials, this one can be broken. It's an easily smashable wooden crate after all. Plus, this way almost all of the third-party mascots will have the same recovery. Now we get to the standard moves, which are a bit tricky, as Crash spins for just about every attack that he does. So we'll have to get creative, or perhaps just alter the way a spin works. For instance, his default jab could be a simple 1, 2, 3 spin, and he whacks his opponents with his extended arms. It's similar to his B move, except slower, but has knockback on the third hit, like Mario's double A press jab. 1, 2, 3. Or maybe you could utilize this idle animation. Crash and Aku Aku throw a fruit around, and then it explodes on the third hit. For forward tilt, we have a short angled spin, which is pretty basic. For down and up tilt, Crash could utilize different parts of his breakdance, the lower half and the upper half. For a forward aerial, Crash could fling a yo-yo forward. Yo-yos were super popular in the 90s after all, and Crash plays with them plenty. They could look similar to Ness's yo-yo attacks, but in the air rather than smash attacks. Just picture this animation, but while jumping. Here's forward air, and here's back air. And up air arcs over him just like Ness's up smash. His neutral air then could be him spinning the yo-yo all around himself, getting tangled for a short while afterwards, perhaps to make it easily punishable because besides that, it's a really good neutral air. Down air, though, would have to be one of Crash's most iconic moves, the body slam, with limbs spread out as far as can be. It's slow, it's predictable, but oh, it is so powerful. Just like Bowser's down special. Now then, Crash has 3 collectibles that he's looking for in each of his games: crystals, gems, and relics. They are almost as big of a Crash staple as the Wumpa Fruit are, really, so why not use these in Crash's smash attacks? Crash's up smash could work as a narrow but powerful crystal put up into the air. Side smash, a big gem gets regurgitated and caught into Crash's arms. He's weird like that. Down smash, Crash pulls out a relic from his butt and starts charging an attack where he slams it into the ground, creating a shockwave in both directions. Dash attack is easy, it's his slide kick. Simple. But if you could jump cancel out of it at any time, that'd be pretty neat. It'd be similar to Simon & Richter's down tilt. Crash does this in his own games all the time in order to carry his slide momentum into his jump. This would be great for setting up movement combos of sorts. Just like in Crash's games, you could slide kick, jump cancel into a double jump, and then mash the special button to start spinning for a lot of distance. I feel like adding in something like this is necessary to get that essence of Crash carried into Smash properly. Now then, Crash is not a smart cookie, so his frequently by his side buddy, Aku Aku, could be present either always, similar to Rosalina and Luma, except he doesn't attack all the time, or he could just appear when Crash grabs someone and help with the throws, like how Toad appears for Peach and Daisy. The idea is that Crash grabs onto the enemy, but then realizes he hasn't thought this far ahead. What does he even do now? So Aku Aku helps him out by slamming into the guy for a pummel. Then, all of Crash's throws are basically Crash throwing them weakly, or even just sort of letting him go because he doesn't know what to do. But then Aku Aku slams into them, launching them. I could picture them being generally all high damage, but low knockback. Crash is not great at throwing. For the final smash, how about one of the quick cutscene style attacks like Fox and Falco's final smashes? Only here, Crash grabs and throws his enemies into the scene where crates come raining down upon them, just like these. Though notably, it should be much faster than they actually are in the Crash games. And the last crate could be a Nitro crate, which explodes immediately, dealing lots of damage and sending them flying. For his taunts, you can't have Crash without the Crash dance. Thing is, the dance is a bit long, so here's a neat idea. Each taunt is a different part of the Crash dance, so you can combo them together for the full dance. Or you could just pelvic thrust eternally. Though if the Crash dance was to be destined as one super long taunt like Bayonetta's taunts, the other two could utilize these poses. Yeah, more taunts. Other Crash details, the arena entry animation could be him coming out of a time portal like in Crash 3, or he could teleport in like in Crash 2. Another detail that would need to be included, when Crash gets KO'd, his shoes need to fly off back on screen. Crash games are all well known for having a wide variety of death animations, and this is what happens when Crash falls over a cliff off screen, so it just works out perfectly. For victory poses, Crash has so many silly dances that you can pull from, so just any of those. Notably, Coco is capable of doing everything Crash does in the games, so she would be a good Echo fighter. And just like Richter and Simon Belmont, they are exactly the same besides looks. Now, there are 2 possibilities for color swaps. One is that Crash stays orange, but his pants and shoes and all that change color. A few of the other more iconic characters have this happen. Like, you can't not have a yellow Pac-Man or yellow Pikachu. So their accents change color instead of them, or maybe they'll change into a slightly different shaded version of their default color. Perhaps Crash would be the same, with the orange. Or maybe you could pull an Incineroar and have some options to get some really creative color palettes. Each palette could be inspired from a Crash boss. Neo Cortex Yellow and Gray, Purple Blue and White Ripperoo, Green and Purple Komodo Bros, Bright Red and Green Pinstripe, White and Black Engine, lighter orange with green polka dots, Tiny, and super green, Brio. Though there could even be alternate costumes where he wears his biker gear or his aviators. Either way though, Crash is for sure an important character on the gaming scene, and would fit right in with the Smash cast, being as cartoony as he is. Plus, we all know that Smash could use at least a handful of Western-made characters. Right now, there's only Diddy Kong and King K. Rool, and those do not deserve to be the only Western characters. Well, maybe K. Rool, but not Diddy! Ugh! Crash, after all, was made to dethrone Mario. And for an albeit short time, it looked like that might have been possible. Plus Crash is sort of a personification of everything the 90s was about. Wackiness. Plus, how cool would it be to have Mario, Sonic, and Crash all in the same game? Crash may not be as relevant as he once was, but basically being the mascot of the PlayStation 1 makes him more than worthy already. So I know I'm down for Crash Bandicoot in Smash Bros. Well then, I hope you liked this video. Who should we cover next? Well no, I'm going to tell you who we're going to cover next. We're covering Steve from Minecraft. Steve! Yeah, probably Steve and Alex. And that'll be great. So until then, here are some other Smash Bros. Videos, and until next time, please don't be like Crash Bandicoot. He doesn't use his noggin. Except to, like, bash into things. He's kind of an idiot.